Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here in the lovely world of raccoons with me, Vanillaraccoon. Heyo! And we are going to be continuing our road tour of this lovely world. And in the previous one, we were showing off the medieval Patreon kingdom that I had started to build in when I first created this world. But what we're going to do now is before we go through that nether portal, because I know it's going to get a little loud for me, and I don't want it to get loud for you, is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and take a look at something that I had built. Oh, geez, that's still loud for me. If it's loud for you all, I'm sorry. So we're going to go ahead and take a look as to what we've done here in the nether. And right off the bat, we have this interesting looking custom nether fortress. And this is actually dedicated to Nobody's LP, because in the previous road tour episode, where I was giving the first half of this road tour, I had stated that I was going through a phase where I wanted to show gratitude to Nobody's LP for helping my channel grow exponentially at the time, and so I thought I would go ahead and build him a custom nether fortress. If memory serves correctly, I had private messaged him, hey, which would you prefer, a custom nether fortress or an archer's range? And I think he said nether fortress because he wouldn't be able to hit any targets at a archer's range. But right here, what we have is I can't even say a started up project where I wanted to actually create some type of an overworld looking garden, but instead of having water pools, we would have lava pools. I'm just going to pretend this is not here. If you would like to join me in doing so, you're more than welcome to. So let's just go ahead and take a look now at Nobody's nether fortress. And I gotta say, I really like how this looks. I mean, I was building this along the B-Dubs resource pack, so I think one reason why I decided to choose nether brick blocks for this is, aside from, it suiting the theme of being in the nether, is that he was showing that he changed the texture of his nether brick blocks to be black. And once again, I'm using a little taste of Germ resource pack, so Germsy Boy did the same thing for his resource pack, and still it's a nice contrast to the prismarine blocks that we have, which is why I was at the time, and still am to this day, fairly happy with this. Okay, Ghast, where are you at? Let me go ahead and just turn down my hostile creatures. Actually, no, let's just go ahead and turn them all the way off. Okay, so right over here we have this little... We have something that was supposed to be a dome, and it was going to be my combat arena so I could fight to earn my XP from blazes. However, as you can tell, like a lot of other projects in this world, that was not fully completed. Now, I know right down here, we have... Hold on a second. We have a small fortress that I did a Minecraft Let's Build video on. And I like this little fortress area. I mean, it's a little small, but I'm sure someone might be able to come along and build something interesting in it. Or maybe I'll be able to come in here one day and build something small but functional and such. So, you know what? No. I don't want to go all the way over there quite yet, because that's going to lead us to our fantasy-themed village. And I'm not quite ready to go over there and show you all what I've done. So let's just go ahead and go through this nether portal, and here we are. So where are we, you may ask? Well, we are actually... Oh, I'm gonna have to find my way around here, aren't I? Actually, no, I just gotta go up through here. I just gotta go up this spiral stone staircase, and then I gotta go through this spiral staircase. Yep, here we go. So this is going to take us to the ancient Mayan city that I had built almost what seems like a year ago. It probably was a little more than that, actually, but ooh, that is a lot of green. Well, then again, this is supposed to be an ancient Mayan city. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to build an ancient Mayan city is because it was something new to me when it comes to what I would be building in Minecraft. And are these sheep? actually like condensed into this area. Can they escape? No, they cannot escape. Oh, okay. So, like what I was saying, oh, we have some more wolves here. That's cool. So, like what I was saying, is I was at this point so used to building medieval rustic, not fantasy, because I hadn't started to build in that spectrum yet. But I was so used to building said themes that I was like, you know what, I want to build something new, but I don't know what. And then it became a mixture of, do I want to build an ancient Egyptian city, or do I want to tamper with my roots and build an ancient Mayan city? And then I thought, you know what, it wouldn't hurt to learn up about my people and my culture and their history and such. So I decided to go with an ancient Mayan city. And these, at least, are, if you were to go on to Bing or Google, if you use that, God forbid you use Microsoft Edge. I have nothing against Google or Microsoft Edge. These are the jokes, people. But if you were to like search up a Mayan house or Mayan city house or whatever, then you would probably see something more so like this shape and look. But this one right here, I tried to build it within the ground, give it a little sunken look to it, whereas all the others, you know, are a little raised up. These houses were built on a solid foundation. But then right over here, we just have a small ancient Mayan ruins, and I figured this would be, if you were to come over to this section of the world and you were to see one of these, this would indicate that you are near a farmland, because, well, I pretty much built these near farmlands. Like, for example, we have all these watermelons, and then we have the wheat growing on right here. And then I don't want to get to the main temple yet, so let's just go ahead over here. So then I decided, you know what, well, I need a place to store my items, not only because I'm building and such, but also I want to give this city, this ancient Mayan city, a place where people can store their goods to the gods. And that's when I decided, you know what, let's create some lore for this city. And it's actually this city that got me into establishing lore into my builds, or providing background stories, if you don't know what lore is. So as you can tell, we have a statue on top of this ancient Mayan ruin, and if it isn't obvious already, it's supposed to resemble a duck. Quack. So this is where, like, the ancient Mayans would come. They would store their treasures, their valuables, for the duck gods and so on and so forth. Right over here, we just have oh, what are these called? It's a chinempa. Chinempa. I can't say the word correctly, but this is something that I had learned about whilst building this ancient Mayan city, where the Mayans would have a farmland, like they would create artificial islands, or they would go into a river or stream and take the land and then just do some landscaping so that they could grow crops on it. But it was a way to keep animals away from their crops. It was also a way to keep neighboring civilizations away from their crops and sort of hidden from them as well. And that's, like I said, what that they created I can't say that word, and I'm starting to stutter, so I'm just gonna move on now to the next thing. But chinampas, people, yes. So as we continue to wander through this ancient Mayan city, I may be able to rehash some memories of what I've learned about my Mayan culture and the people, which is one reason why I was also excited to, you know, go on with this project, because it inspired me to learn a thing or two about something from IRL. So right over here, we have our... Wow, just as I finished giving you that little positive speech, I forget what this is called. It's the game that Mayans would play. You may have seen it in the Disney movie Road to El Dorado, where you would... basically, you would have something that looks like a ball, and you were to knock it through the ring that was within a wall. But if I remember correctly, you weren't supposed to use your hands or arms. You were only supposed to kick it or headbutt it. Oh, I can't remember what the name of that sport is, and it's on the tip of my tongue. It's like right at the front of my head, but it's not coming to my mind. Anyways, yeah, so I made one of those little sporting arenas right over here towards the back behind the uh, centerpiece of this ancient Mayan city, which is, of course, the temple. And the idea for the sports arena was, before we go ahead and drift on to the next thing, was the losing team, and this is like, again, historical, this is factual, the losing team would often then be sent to war because it was like, oh, if your team lost, then you're not worthy of celebrating, or then you're better suited to just serve your country, so to speak. Of course, we're speaking back in ancient times with the Mayans and such, but you weren't seen fit to continue on, whether you were descending from royalty or any political side of things. You were to then just go off and fight to protect your city. And that's why I also created this little area right here, because then what would happen is the losing team would be sent off into the forest or the jungle, and you would be hunted. But at the same time, if you were to actually make it all the way through this maze-like thing that we have right here, then you would then be free to then go about into the world and do as you wish. But you weren't really welcomed back. I mean, you could come back, but you would be like shunned and such. So right over here we have this. This was my. So in the ancient Mayan culture, you would have shamans who would have visions about, like, oh, Shaman A had a vision that the god of the sun god will give us Shaman A would say to Shaman B, or even a priest, the god of crops and such. I mean, the sun god said, if we do a sacrifice tomorrow, then he will give us enough sun so that we can begin to grow some more crops for the new season. Whereas Shaman B would say, oh, the god of rain or whatever said to me that if we do a sacrifice in a couple of days, he will come and hydrate the land, so that way our crops will then be able to continue to grow more efficiently, or whatever the case may be. And so this was a place where shamans would just come. They would I'm not trying to promote anything here, but in order to have these visions, oh, that's that ambient noise, to for these shamans to have their spiritual quest, their visions, they would have to take a little something, but that's neither here nor there. So the shamans and the priests would gather there, and then once they would share their messages and then come up with a ceremony, they would then come to the top of the temple right here, speak unto the people, and relay the message to them, so then the people would know what to do. And the reason why I built the temple right here is because it was sort of the epicenter of this whole city, if you will. I kind of built everything surrounding this temple, and then right here we obviously have this pathway that leads up to it, so the people would just stand in crowds before the temple. And yeah, so let's move ahead over to this section, and pretty much, once again, like I said, wherever you saw any of these structures with the duck statue on top, it's where we would store our stuff, our goods, our valuables, whatever the case may be. And then right over here we have the Hunter's Armory. So this is a place where hunters and other people of the sorts may come and store their weapons, any armor and such, so that way if their city were to be attacked, then it's everyone would come here to bear arms, and so on and so forth. Then we have some more chinampas, and then we just have some more farmland right along the water side right here. We have a we have a medium-sized ruins, and I don't think I really had anything planned for this. This was just going to be the farmer's market, so to speak, where all of the harvested crops within this area, or even this city altogether, would be stored in this little ruins right here. And then we have, let's just go ahead and fly up through this little neat little pathway that we have here. This is something I remember being proud of because I was very happy with how it looked from like sitting right here. At the time, I was then beginning to work on my landscaping skills, learn where it would be best to place leaf blocks, flowers, grow some watermelons and such, just to get the aesthetic detailing going on. But again, where you would see one of these structures is where a farmland would be. And since it's getting to be nighttime, I think this is probably going to be a good note to end this part of the season finale on. But before we go ahead and do so, I just want to take you inside the main part of this ancient Mayan city, and that is of course this temple. So as you can tell, we have a lot of cobblestone, not a whole lot of variation when it comes to the stone-based blocks. But instead of looking like if we were to stand here and look at the opposing wall, instead of just it all looking like one big mess of cobblestone, I tried to then begin working on adding depth into my builds. So that way, let's actually go ahead and set the time to 0. So is this going to give us additional lighting in here? No, it's not. Go figure. So aside from letting this all look like one giant mess of cobblestone, I figured adding depth into the walls and even into the support beams would help differentiate one wall from another. So I at least like to think I did a decent job at doing that. But if we just go ahead and fall down to the very bottom here, we have our chambers in which kings and their families, along with any of the rich politicians or spiritual leaders, may be laid to rest at and such. Like each one of these rooms is a chamber where, you know, we would have multiple said people and their families buried in. But overall, that is going to do it for this episode. If I remember correctly, in one of these houses, before we go, I just got to figure out if I actually did do this or if I destroyed it at some point. I hope I didn't. Let me go ahead and check the main house that I have right here. That is a lot of chickens. Holy crap. Okay. I know I wrote a book and placed it in one of these houses here. I just don't remember which one it is. In this book, it was a full-blown story that I spent a couple nights working on so that I could then, when the world download featuring this world came out, then, you know, if someone came over here, they would have a nice book to read, a nice story to help pass the time, but it would also provide the lore or background story to this city. What did I do with that book? Okay, I already checked this one. Oh, don't tell me I destroyed it or I lost it. No. If I did, I'm going to be really, really sad. Oh, and I remember spending, like I said, I spent nights on that book and it's probably gone. So, thank you all ever so much for tuning in. Be sure to stick around, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and slap the bell to me. That way then you'll be notified when any and all future videos go out. For some reason, YouTube is weird like that, where when you subscribe to someone, you have to do a little extra work, so that way you will then get notifications on your mobile device or whatever it is you're watching YouTube on as to when that person uploads a new video. You would think YouTube would have that feature by default, but no. So if you like what you see, then please give that like button a hug and subscribe for the latest buzz. And if you had a blast with a good laugh, then make sure you favorite this video and share with a friend or two. But until next time, peeps, this is Vanillaraccoon. Peace out.